It is my current goal to beat the game of Pokemon Yellow every single week in a solo challenge using all 151 Pokedex entries within the game. And this week we're taking a look at Vaporeon. Now, you may have recognized that we just did Eevee. And now what are we doing? We're doing Vaporeon. I wonder what'll happen next. That's right, we're doing the Eeveelution line mini-series. I don't have a better name for it, but we're going to be spending the next few weeks taking a look at all of the Eeveelutions within Pokemon Yellow and within Pokemon Crystal. We're going to keep it just Generations 1 and 2 since those are the ones that we have the most amount of experience with on this channel, and eventually in the future we will take a look at some of the other games and some of the other Eeveelutions. But for sure, for now, for a total of 6 weeks, we'll be taking a look at Eeveelutions back to back to back. And this one is Vaporeon. Vaporeon is the water Pokemon, the water evolution that you get by evolving Eevee using a water stone. And in Generation 1, as we talked last week about how Eevee kind of just had only normal type attacks because it had to be a little bit more versatile, be able to go in any which direction. This is what happens once you go in a direction. And before anyone says anything about it, yes, I know there's a meme about Vaporeon, and well, did you know that statistically and scientifically, we're not going to go into that, all right? If you've got that kind of comment, I mostly just keep it to yourself. This is not that kind of channel. But what we are here to discuss, if you want to talk about the statistics and the reality and scientifically what this Pokemon can do, it's used moves that will actually help it beat the game pretty quickly, actually. As we've seen in some of the other videos, water Pokemon have it pretty darn good in Generation 1, especially any of the water Pokemon that also have good access to solid ice-type moves. Sure, Blizzard will get you pretty far, but Blizzard is very inaccurate and everything like that. Ice Beam has very quickly become one of my favorite moves of all time, and we get access to that move today. We also get access to great moves such as Bubble Beam, which, of course is a TM that you get after Gym number 2, but it's going to do us very well until we can get Surf onto the move pool. That's also a great thing that we can have access to. It's great for, obviously, the HM usage within the game, but then also in battle, Surf is really OP. Between Surf and Ice Beam, what else could you really want? Oh, that's right, of course, Body Slam. Oh, great move. And what's that? Oh, there's one more really great move that we're going to get this week, and that is Acid Armor. Something that we have talked about in some of the other previous videos as well is a little game mechanic that happens here in Generation 1, which is the badge boost glitch, and Acid Armor is going to help us take advantage of that this week to help boost our numbers and our stats, but more on that a little bit later. For now, let's take a look at what Vaporeon can do here in the early game by just starting off as a water Pokemon with Water Gun. You see, some Pokemon, even once you get to start with them, they still don't necessarily start with a move that is within their stab, right? A lot of these Pokemon, like take for example, a Squirtle. It's going to start off with just Tackle. It's not going to have Bubble until you level it up a few times. But Vaporeon just starts with Water Gun, and because of that, that means that we can take this Pokemon directly to Brock. At this point, there have been no cuts, no edits in this video. We are already at Brock, and even as I say that, we have taken out Geodude. We take the Tackle from Onix because it does outspeed us, but it doesn't matter. With only losing 12 HP, we already have our first badge. This is looking quite nice. Considering we didn't have to do any kind of grinding to get to that first gym, and we beat that first gym at just level 10, getting here to the rival fight at level 16, this is one of the lowest levels we have ever been during this section of the game. However, it's also one of the fastest times that we've ever gotten to this section of the game. So there's a little bit of give and take within that. The question is can we continue to go at this breakneck speed even with not having a lot of levels? Well, here at just over 11 minutes, we are now going up against the first trainer here within Misty's gym. We are skipping the optional one and just kind of going as fast as we possibly can. This also is one of the fastest times that I've ever gotten to this section as well. But here at level 21, this is going to be kind of a moot point, right? We are both water-type Pokemon. It's just, we kind of resist each other. They are going to boost their defense, but really, if I want to use my special attack, that means I'm using a move that they use. So there's just sort of no real way of looking at this, but since they don't have anything super effective against me either, it's just sort of a little bit of a who can chip away faster, and in this case, it is me and Vaporeon. So already at under 12 minutes, we have 2 badges. And then we're making our way to one of my favorite areas in the game, the SS Anne. I don't normally go through this section of the ship either, unless I'm desperately in need of experience points. However, today we are here specifically to pick up the move TM44 Rest. The reason for that being that I'm a little concerned about my HP later on in the game, just because we are kind of really speeding through this, and my defense is going to have a lot to be desired. Although luckily the things that I am super weak to are special, and my special is pretty decent. That being said, having something to kind of counterbalance some of this is going to do me a little bit better. Then, of course, I make my way into the second to the left room on that first floor. I'm going to pick up the move of Body Slam. I do also accidentally take one of the optional fights here. Not really intentional, but again, I don't think it's really going to add that much time to the overall situation that we got going on. And this is not an official speedrun, but I do like to have good times. Then we make our way to Rival 3. He is going to be quite simple because Bubble Beam being Stab, and we've got some really good special going here. It's going to look pretty nice. There you go. Everything with the exception of the Eevee going down in 1 is a good feeling. Then we get off of the SS Anne after picking up Cut, which lets us go to Lieutenant Surge's gym. There is a little bit of concern here. I'm only level 25. He both outspeeds me and outlevels me, but he does miss his first move. He uses an X item, and he gets me to basically half health, but Body Slam 3 times is enough. Lieutenant Surge could have Thunderbolted me twice and won, but he doesn't, so we get that badge. Then we kind of speed our way over to Celadon. I pick up the Pokédoll because I'm not going to go through the secret base for Team Rocket. There's a little bit of some pathing issues here. I feel like there's some stuff that I probably could have done to maximize my time in this section of the game. But again, because I'm also still very underleveled, I am feeling a little bit of a concern about Celadon City Gym, so I kind of felt that maybe the worst pathing would still be the right pathing. I don't know. But we make our way through Rival 4, which means we will have access to the Pokemon Flute, or the Poke Flute, and then we can make our way through the bicycling path. And this is a section that I pretty much never show, but I want to kind of talk very briefly about some of my pathing and some of my choices here. There is a couple of things here within this particular gameplay that is very different than how I normally do things. Typically, when I go there to pick up the Pokédoll for going over to the Pokemon Tower, I typically just go ahead and try and fight Erica at the very least once, or go through and beat all of the people in the gym because it's some good experience. But I figured that if I potentially do lose once, twice, even 3 times, that is going to eat up some of the clock. So let's just skip her for now. We're going to get that Pokédoll. We're going to go get the Poke Flute. We'll go through Snorlax. We'll go down here. We'll go down to Fuchsia. And we're going to continue this path along. What's also going to seem crazy is that I'm showing you the path that I take and the people that I typically fight. There are a couple of the people that sometimes, if I'm not too worried about time, I might ping pong back and forth on some of those routes to get the different fighters that have the better experience pools. Personally, I think that if you just have to kind of just go straight at some point, I think the left-hand side is the one that's better. Statistically, I feel like that's dealt me better. But then after that, I make my way over to Fuchsia City. And I think a lot of people are expecting me to then try to go for the Fuchsia City gym badge here. No. And this is another thing where I've changed my path. Usually I go and I fight the Fuchsia gym, then I go pick up Surf, because sometimes, for a water type Pokemon, I can teach Surf early. But until it becomes usable outside of battle, I always feel like that's sort of wasting my pathing. But not today. Today I go and I pick up Surf. I want the extra powerful move. And then after I pick up my HM for strength and everything like that, I then make my way back to Celadon. I have Fly, so I can just sort of zip right back. Then I only fight a couple trainers here in the gym, just enough to get me up another level. I go up to level 37. We go into this fight with Ice Beam boosted up. That is 3 Ice Beams. That is 3 deaths on her side, faints, whatever. So we make it through. I think luckily our special is really nice, so that's what's helping us, but some Pokemon cannot do that, so I felt nervous. Vaporeon probably could have, who knows? But for the time being, I still stand by my decision. Then after that, we then go to Silphco because it's just around the corner. It's right next door, and we have a lemonade, so we can walk right through to Saffron. And then here we take on Rival 5. I have spent almost no time here in the tower. I did a couple of quick fights just to kind of boost some levels here. But it's actually pretty easy to gain some levels very quickly in this tower, especially in a solo challenge. Then for this fight though, it does get a little close. I was so nervous, but honestly, we are very fortunate that we do not have Jolteon there at the end. It is Flareon because I skipped the optional battle, and then we get to move on. So Rival 5 shows that there is some kinds of struggle here for Vaporeon, and it was kind of what my earlier fears was, that the fact that I'm going so quickly, I'm not exactly leveling up as fast as some of my other Pokemon. So I'm not as ahead of the game in some of these scenarios. Now, that is also somewhat fine. You know, when I have a Pokemon like Mew, for example, I don't have to be crazy over-leveled, and Mew can make it through these sections of the games, no problem. Vaporeon is not quite there, right? But Vaporeon does look good. It just kind of comes down to maybe luck. And speaking of that, this is where I get maybe very, very lucky in this game. I forgot to heal before Koga. After I fought the last trainer in the gym, I forgot to use an item. I go into this fight not at full health, and somehow I am victorious. This is another reason why picking up Surf was pretty crucial. Surf being up to a power of 142 is incredible, and that is what carried us through that, especially at an under-leveled area. That luck, however, does turn the other way, specifically here against Sabrina. The issue that we've got is that I don't really have a great attack stat, and as you can see, her Pokemon don't have great defense. But it also means that I can't really boost up my Body Slam all that much, and I could probably spam some of my Acid Armor, but because I'm getting weaker and they lowered my special, I kind of just have to go. Unfortunately, even just going is not enough. Okay. You know, we take our first reset at 40 minutes in, but 5 badges. That feels fairly fair. Fairly fair? Sure. That feels evenly even. Then, here in the second fight, it's looking a little bit better. We now have Acid Armor. I'm adding that in because we can use that to our advantage. That's the move that we're going to want for the rest of the game for sure. We're going to get into that right after this gym. It gets really close, but because of the debuff for accuracy, I lose there. That was unbelievably close, and it just came down to a little bit of bad luck. So 2 resets, now the third fight in, once again, teaching Acid Armor. And now we are back to Alakazam. It uses Reflect, which of course is going to make Body Slam less effective. But then I thought, well, why not just go for the Surf? It's not doing that much, but it's definitely doing more than Body Slam, and that was the correct move because then it kept trying to spam the Recover, it couldn't keep up, and we make it out of there with the 6th badge. Now for the 7th badge, for against Blaine, he's very simple, especially if you have a Water-type Pokemon or Ground-type Pokemon in this game. Look at that. Beautiful. I don't even have any real commentary for that. I thought about what am I going to say there, and there's not a lot to say. It's just hit Surf. kind of honestly the cheat code for water Pokemon in this game to begin with. For the most part, just hit Surf. You're probably going to end up okay. Now, here's where we're going to talk about Acid Armor. Acid Armor is very crucial for this fight because, again, we are under-leveled and we are up against some very strong Pokemon. It's also going to be a little unfortunate right near the end when I'm going to level up mid-battle, but that's okay. Because of the badge boost glitch, you can see that every time I use that move and boost my defense, it moves all my other stats up. It reapplies that boost. However, if I level up in the middle of the fight like I just did, the other stats go back to their normal stats. But that didn't matter because for Rhydon, it's times 4 effective. For Surf, it didn't matter if I was boosted or not. He was going to go down. So that is the 8th badge. We are at 45 minutes, and now we're at Rival 6, the final time that we will see the rival as our rival. And this is one of those interesting moments where I think about how Body Slam is technically, in a way, a more correct move, but Cloyster's defense is so high, even though it resists the Surf does more, because its special is not very good, and it's boosted for me. So, you know, we make through, we make by. That's a lot of health that I've lost, though, so that is a little concerning because those Pokemon don't even have their best moves. They're not even in their final form, and I'm kind of barely making it by, so we're going to have to teach some better stuff here, or at least be stronger, rather. We're not going to change our moves. Our moves are good. Our moves are sound. Then I drop off all of my HM employees, and then I heal up, I buy some items, and then we're going to use most of our 11 rare candies. We're going to save 3 for the end, because remember what I said, you don't want to level up in the middle of a fight that changes your stats. So I'm going to get myself up to a good enough level. I don't need to worry about leveling up in the middle of the Lorelei fight or the Bruno fight, so I just need to save 1 to use before Agatha, before Lance, and before the champion. Up first is Lorelei. We are at 50 minutes. How quickly can we do this? Come on. We just gotta power through. So I hit it a couple times, then I hit the Acid Armor because now while it's asleep is the time to do so. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle because, again, we're still having to deal with the potions and the sleeping effect, but it's all right. Once you're through that Pokemon, we have enough stats that we should be able to just roll the rest of this team. Slowbro, yes, of course, it still takes quite a few hits. It's a tanky Pokemon. It's beefy. And actually, so is Lapras. Lapras is going to have the exact same problem. But as you can see, it is no concern at all. My defense and my special are nice and high, so Vaporeon just cruises on by. I'm a poet, and I guess I'll never know if that's actually something that everyone's interested in. Then Bruno, Surf, 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 and wait a minute, you guessed it, Surf. He is not good. He's just kind of like Surge. Then I use that rare candy that I mentioned earlier. I heal up a little bit. I save just before Agatha, and now we're going to go up against her. There's a few things that can be concerning here, specifically the usage of Substitute into Mega Drain, even if I'm using Acid Armor. Then you have moments like this where Lick can paralyze me. It's going to drop my speed. I could get wrapped to death, which is crazy to think about this late in the game. But then there's also things like Psychic is still going to do a lot of damage. They're just, you know, they're strong. It's a strong move. It's one of the OP moves. But so far, we're looking okay. That is the first concern that I had, which is because I'm paralyzed, they could go for a wrap nonstop. They do hit Screech, which gives me an opportunity to move. But then I'm confused, and then they're also using Psychic. Oh, no. Vaporeon. Oh, gosh. All right. Well, it's all right. We're still under an hour. We can still do this. We just have to basically do what I said earlier, which is just Surf, Surf. And now against Golbat, Golbat is a little bit less effective against me. This is actually the place to set up. I'm going to only set up twice, though. I think that's all that I need. Once I've set up twice, I have a boosted attack for everything. Surf will take out the rest of the team here. The next Gengar will live it, but it doesn't have enough to take me out. Maybe if it used Hypnosis Dream Eater, I don't know. It doesn't, and so therefore we make it through to Lance. I heal up, I use one more rare candy. I have one left in my back pocket. And so now it's time for Lance. Lance is a major wall, but luckily because I am a water Pokemon, he is spamming the moves that are not Hydro Pump. And so that typically does much less damage. I mean, especially Dragon Rage, which only does 40. So it's leaving me with about a little over half health. And then now that I am boosted up, I can just start spamming Ice Beam because that is super effective against the other 4 Pokemon on his team. He's done. See you later. We're going to heal up one last time. We're going to use an elixir. We're going to use the last rare candy, and we are going to go into this fully set up. The only items that I have left are a couple of full restores that I didn't actually need, my bicycle, and TM44, which I did pick up, but I felt confident that I was not going to need it in this fight. I changed my mind last minute. I think we've got this. So we're going to start using acid armor here against Vaporeon. The biggest concern is Slash, because Slash can get the critical hits like you just saw. So I took a major attack there, and that was unfortunate. We get the Paralyze on Alakazam, which actually may have been the crucial moment, because then we got to attack without taking any damage. But the biggest issue is we then get paralyzed. Magneton then outspeeds us. All right, well, there's the reset. There's the fourth one, rather. We're still at under an hour, at 55 minutes. I was hoping to do it under 55, but I think we can do it just over. If we can just sort of repeat the same situations and get a little lucky, I think this is it. I only set up once. I'm really concerned about getting that Slash critical hit. Then here I go for it again. I think the big thing to me is that if I had fully set up, I think I can take out Alakazam, Exeggutor, and Magneton in one hit, but I'm so concerned about those slashes that I just don't think it's really worth it. And I am dealing with Leech Seed, and I'm also getting a lot of damage taken away by that Cloyster surviving for so long. But once it's down, Flareon is not a challenge because we have Surf. And so therefore, Vaporeon at just over 55 minutes, or really technically just under 56, at 55:51, we come in with a really good time for a non-legendary, non-pseudo-legendary either Pokemon here in Pokemon Yellow. What an incredible run. I do think we can easily shave off minimum 5 minutes. Probably more. I think that there's some things that I wasn't really willing to risk that I could go back and redo on some other day and just sort of see how fast we can get that. But this is one of my fastest times in this game so far. So that actually feels really nice and does get me a little hype for the possibility of someday actively trying to do speedruns. But thank you so much for watching this. I hope you're going to enjoy this little mini series. I know that so far I am having a blast with all of them. And if you have not already subscribed to the channel, I would love if you consider doing so. I'm so close to 500 at the time this episode comes out, and that's one of my main goals for this year. And also just in general, anytime you interact with a smaller creator like myself, liking, commenting, sharing, it really helps us out a lot. So I appreciate no matter how you interact with this video. Thank you so much for watching. Be kind to yourself, be excellent to one another, and I will see you all next week for another Eeveelution solo challenge in Pokemon Yellow.